I am changing heads on, I've got a set of toms. I've got this whole set, this birch kit, semi-solid birch kit, which rules. And it's 8, 10, 12, 15. I have it set up with hydraulic heads at the moment, which is a vibe. Really cool for that kind of 80s studio sound. Here's what the 8 sounds like with the hydraulic. I love it, but I want to be able to use these drums on more sessions. So the other day I did a session and I used the 10 and the 15 and I swapped the heads on them. And I had to wait for the new heads for the 8 and the 12. So we're gonna swap heads on the 8 and the 12 and get them sounding just as cool, but maybe a little bit more versatile. So I'm gonna change both heads to just G1 coateds. I've never had G1 coateds on this drum. What's up, Mike? Good to see you. It is Friday. I'm about to hit the road here, so I'll try to get this done quickly before I get on the road. So this 8 has 4 lugs. And I'm going to keep these hydraulic heads. They've very little use. Some minor indentations, but you never know when someone might request, give me that Steve Gadd circa 1979. All right. So fresh G1. Now where do I put this? If I'm going to use, where do you put the logo? You know, this drum has 2 badges. What's up, Kirk? Good to see you. So do I put it on, because if I use this with the double tom stand, it's going to be like this. Yeah. So logo goes there. I'm sure that's wrong, but that's where it's going. I'm playing down in Manassas, Virginia tomorrow at Farm Brew Live with a great old friend that I've been playing with for damn near 30 years, Shane Gamble. We are at Farm Brew Live on the outside stage tomorrow, 6:30 to 10:30. So I'm going down tonight. My parents live down that way, so it's an excuse to see the family. So I'm going to just kind of rough in the tuning until I get the other head installed. If I have any drum keys. There's one on the floor. Forgot I dropped it down there. They're always under the bass drum. All right, so I'm just going to 2 keys, just kind of rough them in. Mainly just for feel, to make sure they feel like they've got the same amount of tension on them. Definitely higher, way higher than it's going to live. But I don't go crazy with seating. I don't think Evans heads need to be seated. There's not as much like cracking and settling that has to happen. But I do go higher than normal, like that's up there. Interesting sound. So that one's cool, that's the top. The bottom came with, I've had these drums since March of 2019. I've never changed the bottom head. Still has the original G12. All right, so I'm just doing coated G1 top and bottom, both all drums. The 10 I had UV1s laying around, so I just put UV1s on it. It's essentially the same. Don't think I do have a 10-inch G1 here, so maybe I'll put that on the batter side, just so all the batters are the G1s. All right, logos go there. I never, ever use an 8 in the real world, but I have used it on some sessions, and it's fun to just set up a bunch of toms sometimes. But not once have I gone to a gig with an 8-inch tom in my car. Correction, I use 8-inch concert toms with my duo, but that's a totally different thing. 8-inch rack tom, never, not once. But here we are. Never say never. Like Jonah Dave Matthews tribute band or something. All right. So what's everybody up to this weekend? And when playing, it's been a relatively light year so far. Even just by feel, it feels like the heads are pretty well balanced. So because I had saved this kit into my TuneBot, so I've got the tunings that I want. Going for pretty much as low as these drums will go, while still having some spread. So the 8 bottom lug, 247. Now I need to dampen the other side, so we'll do that with the old head. Will that dampen it enough? Alright, get the old infamous TuneBot just for consistency. Baseball season. Caught my first Pirates game last weekend. Paul Skeens' home debut. Didn't do so great, unfortunately, but he's pitching again tonight against the Dodgers. So I have a feeling he's going to be pumped. That's his home crowd. Pirates, man, they're heartbreakers. They sometimes look great and sometimes look like a high school team. Wow, this is not even reading anything. So I'm going to just start bringing it down. Eesh. All right, what did I say? 231. So that's reading 243. Oh no, I need to be looking at which side am I tuning here? This is the bottom. 246. I want to take it all the way down. This is not reading correctly. So I'm going to just kind of go from the bottom up now. These little tiny drums. Finicky. It's like they can do one thing, usually. All right. To register anything. All right, I'm going to not use the TuneBot and tune it the old-fashioned way. Tuning out the wrinkles. I like to press around. You can hear where the head's not fully seating on the bearing edge when it kind of wobbles. Alan, do I think the TuneBot makes a big difference? If you know how to tune drums, you don't need a TuneBot. And if you don't mind taking the time to tune it by ear. For me, it's all about consistency. I know where particular drums sound best, and then I can use the TuneBot very quickly to just get it there without having to guess and test all the time. Especially for recording, if I want to make sure the drum's exactly the way it was. If I have to do a session over a couple days, I think it's a great tool. It's a tool. All right, let's see what note we're getting. We're looking for a C sharp. How could that already be too high? These readings might be a little too extreme. Like I did a track for someone earlier this week. And the producer wanted me to swap the snare drum, but we needed to keep the pitches the same. So I was able to get two drums tuned exactly the same so we could just hear what the drum itself was doing versus one being higher or lower. I don't think I could have done that as quickly by ear. I think C sharp is going to be way too low. All right, so... pretty much as low as I can go. Let's see what we got. So this is the top. I mean, it's close. Yeah, I've never been able to tune drums as accurately by ear as I can with this thing. Gets rid of like all the crazy frequencies. I just realized that light is shining right into the camera. Looks like I'm on the moon or something. All right, what am I going for? 231. All right. I haven't talked to the TuneBot guys in quite a while. I don't even know what the status is. Used to see them at the NAMM show. I know at one point Pearl was distributing this silver version, the TuneBot Gig, which is okay. Doesn't have all the features of the one I'm using, the TuneBot Studio, which is my preferred one. All right, we are right there. Let's see. That tiny little tweak, freaking 8-inch drums. Barely even moved the rods and it went up 3 hertz. Now it's below. All right, we're gonna just get it close and move to the other head. Okay, bottom head, 246. It's low. It's definitely freaking low. I don't think this kit's gonna sit. I wanted to go for the lowest possible note with these drums just to see what it would do. I think it's gonna be too low. Bottom lug, 246. It's a little low. It's right there. 245, 246, 246, 246, 246. All All right, survey says, will this drum work at this tuning? Funny, it's still coming in a whole step higher. Yeah, the top head is definitely as low as I can go. I'm really forcing it. This is absolutely as low as this drum can go and make any sense. All right, not bad. There we go, C sharp. I want to keep it there. Oh, did it go down? My theory is if I have this kit tuned as low as it can go, then I know the range, like that's the bottom. So if I need a note lower than that, I've got to use a bigger drum, but I have a range above it. Let's see, I saw a question here. How would you muffle drums for live versus recording? They're totally, everything is, I hate this answer, but everything is subject to change. So live, I'm usually muffling for the room. If the room is giving me some funky overtones, I will try to use muffling to get rid of some of that, and as well as tuning, I'll do some minor tuning changes. And also, if it's a loud, fully mic'd up production with, you know, loud speakers on stage and everything, I will usually dampen the drums a bit more so we have more control with sustain in the mics. In the studio, it is totally dependent on the song. If it needs to be tighter or more open, it all depends. Very rarely do I record a snare drum with no muffling. At the least, it's one kind of moon gel size piece of something, just for the length of the note. I don't want the note like ringing for a whole measure. But yeah, it all depends. All right, the 10. I think I will put the G1 on top here. I don't know though. I might just leave it. It's supposed to be 183 over 185. So. It's a little bit high on that side, but the note, yeah, it's a little bit high. Have a good one, Kirk. So I'm pushing this one. They're all being pushed as low as they can go. Still reading a little bit too high. Let me use the other one. Bass drum muffling, I would say at the very least these days I've got one of the Evans EQ pads inside, whether it's crammed up against the head or a little bit looser, is just depending on the room and the type of sound I'm going for. What's going on here? But again, a completely wide open bass drum, almost never, particularly if there's microphones on it. Are not reading right. Things out of balance. Still trying to determine if I really dig the UV ones or not. I mean, they're great, but I think they're particularly cool for snares because that coating doesn't wear off. But I'm not 100% sure they're any better sonically than a G1 on toms for me. I'm just so used to the G1. How do EQ pads compare to a pillow or a blanket? It's definitely way less dampening than a pillow or a full blanket. I don't have any in here, but it's like it'd be like if you rolled up a small bath towel and put it inside. So I would say it's way less heavy dampening than a pillow or a full blanket. It's more like a beach towel or something, or a small bath towel. All right, bottom side, 195. But I have a bunch of them. Some drums I use 2 of them. Some drums I'd use 1. They also have Velcro and double-sided tape. So once you place them, you can stick the Velcro to your bass drum shell, and it'll never move. So like in cases and stuff, I never have to adjust the dampening anymore. It just stays in place. Don't know if they still make the ones that come with that weird plastic, I don't know what they called it, but I don't like that thing where it pushes up against the head with this plastic insert thing. Don't dig it. I just like the regular EQ pad. I'm getting the same issue where these two are way off. Balanced. All right. This should be giving us an A. It's a little bit sharp still. Reso side of the kick, it just depends. I mean, it depends on how deep your drum is. Those EQ pads, sometimes they'll reach to hit the front side as well. But if I'm playing a space where we're gonna have to like gate the drums just for PA feedback and stuff, I'll usually have 2 of those EQ pads in the drum, and one of them is dampening the batter, one of them is dampening the front. But just like acoustic gigs, I tend to leave the front head open. A, second octave, yeah, that's it. Yeah, these drums are way low. It's usually where I tune a 12, so they're being tuned basically 1 drum size down. Something going on with the bottom. There we go. Leave it at that. Yeah, that's a 10. That's usually where I have 12. Pretty cool. These thick semi-solid birch shells can handle it. All right, one more drum before I hop off and get ready to hit the road. Why did I feel like my phone was vibrating and it's not even in my pocket? It was not vibrating. Nope. All right, and the 12. Here it is with the hydraulic on it. It's a cool sound. I kind of hate to take it off, but I know I can always get it back. All right. Bass drum tuning. I know we're not talking about bass drum tuning right now, but I've done a lot of workshops in studios over at Peabody and some other studios. If I tune the bass drums where it feels like I'm getting a nice low end response, it doesn't sound as good out front in the room. Usually the front head, as the drummer, feels and sounds better when it's tuned a little bit higher. But out in the room, that front head needs to be pretty low to get the proper low end that you're looking for. So yeah, you have to kind of sacrifice making the bass drum feel good to play versus sounding good to record. Usually on gigs, I'm kind of splitting the difference because I want it to feel good to play, but also factoring in what's the low end response in the room. All right. See you later, hydraulic. We may or may not come back to you. All right, I did not do the G1 on the 10 because it was sounding cool. All right. G1 with the proper updated logo. Still have the old logo heads on here. So this drum, I'm tuning it to an F, which is really freaking low. It's where I would tune like a bebop. It's an octave below where I would tune for like bebop. So it's is about where I would put a 14-inch floor tom. All right, get in there. All right, get everything finger tight. Got this Q Robinson signature drum key, which is awesome, and also these Evans magnetic drum keys. They have this little thing on top you can use to kind of set your finger tight tension by tuning only with that. Seems to be good gauge. All right, now let's just get the head tightened up. Again, I'm going above where I know it's going to want to be, way above. Just so I can kind of get a feel for how the tension rods are reacting. These are all really smooth. All right, super high. Take off this original bottom head, which still has a drum tack dampener on it. Probably from the day I got the kit. All right. I didn't check the edges, but they're not too dusty. They've been in my studio their entire lives, so they haven't been subject to much of the environment. Yeah, he made this kit, this drum, July of 18. So did I add the 8 later? Don't remember. I feel like I've had him longer than 18, but man, pandemic years made everything feel like a lifetime. That was 7 freaking years ago. All right. Back to finger tight. All the way around. The more and more I tune drums, the less kind of precious I get about it, because I think the emotions are ingrained in my DNA now. But early on, man, drum tuning used to be such a mystery. I used to be like, when I got the drums sounding really good, like, don't even dare touch a tuning rod because it'll screw it all up. Changing heads was always depressing because they never sounded good at first. All right, so this is the bottom. That's way above where it needs to be. That's an octave, over an octave. So let's start bringing it down. The bottom side. Yeah, it's gonna take a minute. I know it would sound good tuned in that spot, but that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for the lowest note these drums can produce, just so I know what I'm dealing with. Close. Well, I think we're there. All right, and then the top side. Ooh. That sounds awful. All right, I'm gonna do a different approach. So I know I want a fundamental of F, so I'm gonna detune the top head until we get down there. Because I know the bottom head is already where I want it. Now I just gotta get the top head down to the right note. These are both 12-inch drums. All right, it's starting to fight me. It doesn't want to go any lower, so now I want to detune the bottom head, even though it seemed like it was in the right spot. It's just not getting the right note. All right, that's an F. That is low. For a 12-inch tom, that is freaking low. I bet that's close to where my 15 is right now. So this is a 15 over here. wild. You can push a good drum, you can push it on the lower side and it still holds up. Mike, what's your question? Will you touch the drums when you get to the venue for a quick retune? Yeah, always. It's always, but it's usually like super quick adjustments. If I get to the room and it feels like dead or flappy, is 1 or 2 tension rods just to tune it up. Or if it feels like it's too kind of bright and maybe choked, just one, I'll just grab 1 or 2 tension rods and adjust to kind of bring it back into balance. Because every room just creates different things. Air pressure, the pitch, the perceived pitch, the feel. But I don't go crazy. It's usually just the closest tension rod, just up and down until it starts to open back up. Floor tom, the 2 that are closest to me usually go down and back up. This one's so low that it's starting to growl a little bit, but I'm not going to futz with it. I can make tiny adjustments once I get in, get it into use with the kit. But I know it's as low as it can go. I think this little 8 is not loving being tuned that low. Let's mess with it a little bit more. The 10 and the 12 are cool. They're funky, they're really low. But this thing, I don't know, actually under mics, it's kind of cool. So as long as it's the same pitch I wanted it to be, C sharp, then I'm gonna leave it. Let's see, is it reading a C sharp? On the money. So this 8 is tuned to this, basically the same note as this 12. Pretty crazy. All right, that's it. Those drums are changed. I'm going to not change the 12-inch batter, the 10-inch batter. So I've got an extra G1. I'll change the bass drum. No, that bass drum is fine. That bass drum sounds incredible. It's got an EQ4 frosted batter and then an EQ3 Rezo with a hole, I think. Black Rezo. That bass drum sounds incredible. I'm not touching that. So I might set that whole kit up in here. Just for fun. But I'm loving the way these oak drums are sounding. So, and the heads are just about shot. I had to put a beater patch on this G1 kick batter. It was really starting to wear. I could tell it was going to break soon. And the toms, they're definitely wearing thin, but they just sound so good. So I'm not going to mess with them yet. What snares am I bringing? You mean to the gig this weekend? So, good question. Shane had bought a Beyer 5.5 by 15-inch steel, like black powder-coated steel. years ago because I used that on his record, his last record I played on, and he loved it. So it's 5.5 by 15 steel. He bought one, and then earlier this year he was selling a bunch of gear in his studio. He was like, man, should I sell this snare? What do you think? I'm like, you know, give it to me. Let's tune it up, and I'll bring it down this weekend, and we'll use it. And if you feel like you don't want it anymore, because he has a couple other great drums, I'll help you sell it. So we're going to use that, and I'm also taking my 6.5 by 14 kind of like weird custom Acrolite, Black Galaxy Acrolite, that a buddy who worked at the factory, he found an old Black Galaxy shell and built out a drum. So it's not like the ones you would get in a store. It's like a customized version, but it's a 6.5 by 14 Acrolite aluminum. So I'm taking those two drums. You know, it's a pretty rockin' band, so I need the snare to have some guts to it. I'm taking my Paiste Masters Darks, 15 hats, 18 Crash, 20 Crash, 22 Dark Crisp Ride. And the rest of the kit is a house kit. It's like a Yamaha Oak Custom or Live Custom. It's one of those versions. It's a nice kit. My background looks similar to the Saturn V finish. I don't know if I've seen that kit. I have to look it up. I can't remember what Audimute calls this finish, but it's a blue slate or something like that. Slate. Well, I think that's it, because I got to hit the road here shortly. If you have any other questions, hit me while I'm getting this kit put back together. Otherwise, I'll be out, and I'll be back on Monday. This snare is also killing. It's a prototype. I don't know if I featured it on here before. Prototype machined aluminum. I think it's like a 2 millimeter machined aluminum on the outside, and Brazilian cherry on the inside with maple re-rings. So check out if you can see this. So the outside is machined aluminum, like thick aluminum. That was the Moon Gel. You're going in the garbage. When you fall off the drum, you go in the garbage. So the outside is machined aluminum, and then the inside is this like thin stave shell of Brazilian cherry. With maple re-rings. Love this drum. Forgot how much I love this drum. And it fits this kit perfectly. Sonically. Ooh. It's the drum I've been using in the past few streams and some other videos, so you can check it out on the channel. I don't know if I've done a full demo of it, but fortunately, it was just a one-off. That's wide open because the stupid Moon Gel fell off, and it sounds so good. I think it's going to become one of my primary. I might be like I always go through phases where, like, the drum I start every session with, what is it going to be? For a while, it was a Black Beauty. For a while, it was my solid birch. This might be the one that goes into that slot. So I think it's just a badass drum. Start with this, and then you decide you need something different. What the heck is going on with this snare stand? Good grief. I have so much like janky gear that was like factory seconds or demo stuff or whatever. This stand sucks. All right, there. It does have a strainer that I don't love. It was another like demo prototype that I was sent to test. I need to swap it back with a trick, but yeah. So this drum rules, this kit rules. Next time, just maybe the next week, I'll put the big Birch kit in here and we'll do some freaking Carter Beauford play-alongs or something. Not really, but it'll be fun to have 3 rack toms. See what kind of a trouble I get myself in. All right, I'll deal with the recycling later. We'll keep the hydraulics. I will trash the old resonant heads. Sweet. I'm back to normal. All right, I'm out of here. Have a great weekend. Hopefully the weather's nice wherever you are. And I'll see you next week. Ciao.